To understand depression, an illness that many people make light of, it is important to be aware it is just as serious as any other medical condition that exists. So if you suspect you have a fractured finger, you're typically going to make your doctor's appointment to have them look at it and assess it and then get treatment. However, whenever people tend to feel anxious, upset, or depressed, they don't make the same doctor's appointment. In the general population, as many as 1 in 5 individuals may eventually suffer a significant depressive illness, although most will not seek treatment, according to Patricia Ainsworth in her ebook, Understanding Depression. Hi, I'm Allison, and having been a mental health tech the past 2.5 years, I'm here to broaden your knowledge on the topic of depression. I'm going to define depression, what causes it, how it's diagnosed, some treatment options, and finish with how you can help a loved one who might be depressed. So how can you tell when you feel a little sad or blue versus the possibility of being depressed? According to the ebook Depression FAQs by medical doctors Susan and Stephen Poloki and medical doctor Sandra Buckley, depression is a persistent feeling of sadness that doesn't go away. Depression typically leans toward that diagnosis when this feeling of sadness is persistent for a 2-week period and can last months or even years if not treated. Francis Mondamore, in his ebook Depression, the Mood Disease, explains how when we're in a good mood and positive, we can take minor setbacks in stride. He further explains when we get in a bad mood, everything is magnified, and it's difficult to get things done. Even the most minor tasks can feel overwhelming. Mr. Mondamore states depression is not something one can talk oneself out of, not a phase of life problem, getting old, growing pains, or some other minor and temporary difficulty that will pass with time or that people can just snap out of. Referencing Patricia Ainsworth again, individuals who suffer from depression often don't realize their discomfort until they are so devastated that they can no longer help themselves, or they may not recognize what they've been through until only after they are on their way out of the shadows, as she quoted. Depression has physical and emotional symptoms. Some of the physical symptoms include fatigue, changes in your appetite, changes in your sleep patterns, and weight loss or weight gain. Some of the emotional aspects include trouble concentrating and focusing, no interest in your hobby, indecisiveness, irritability, and thoughts about suicide or suicidal ideation. I just want to make a side note that many people get scared when they think about suicide and they think they're crazy, and then that makes them even more stressed out. As a reminder, as I just said, suicidal ideation is merely a symptom of depression, and as with most symptoms, it can be treated, and with proper treatment, a lot of times completely diminished. So we all feel sad from time to time, but what causes the sadness to become so extreme that we become depressed? Depression is caused by a few different factors. One of the biggest reasons people become depressed is unfamiliar situations, such as a loss of your social support system and being put in situations where you've never had experience before and it's hard to readjust to them. Another reason, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, explains that depression illnesses are disorders of the brain, and according to a study they did, it showed that MRIs of brains of depressed people look different compared to people without depression. The National Institute of Mental Health most likely says that depression is caused by a combo of genetic, biological, environmental, and psychological factors. So let's continue to show how depression is actually diagnosed. As stated in the introduction, depression is just as serious as any other medical condition. So according to the National Institute of Mental Health, the first step in diagnosing depression is to visit your doctor. At this doctor's appointment, they're going to rule out any physiological issues that might be going on, such as a thyroid disorder or a chemical imbalance in your brain, perhaps. So the doctor can diagnose depression on the spot or refer you to mental health for treatment. At the mental health specialist, they're going to be able to target the type of depression or episode and start treatment for you. Many people are nervous when they hear the words mental health, but just so you're aware, you don't have to go through them to get treatment with depression. As I just stated, your doctor can actually diagnose and thus he can treat depression as well. They treat depression by way of prescribing antidepressants and having you follow up with them for weekly or whatever time frame they feel until your body has adjusted to the new medication. So if they refer you to mental health, it's just because they feel it's a more appropriate choice, such as you've been through a recent traumatic event, and they'll be able to help you identify why your thought patterns are the way they are and get you on your way to recovery. So now that you know some symptoms to look out for, it can be awkward expressing your concern to a friend or family member suffering from depression. As we stated, the worst symptom is suicidal ideation. So that's why it's even more important to express concern to your loved one, because when people are depressed, a lot of times they don't realize how depressed they really are. The National Institute of Mental Health tells us that in order to help a loved one, we need to offer support to them. Don't dismiss their feelings or make light of them. And they also tell us we should encourage the member to go to therapy for at least 6 to 8 weeks minimum, because just like a broken arm isn't fixed overnight, depression takes time to heal as well. So now that you know more about this illness and see how it can be treated, let's review what I talked about today. I defined depression, what causes it, how it's diagnosed, treatment options available, and how you can help a loved one. Statistics from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention state suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. The death rates have increased from 10.5 deaths per 100,000 people in 1999 to 12.4 deaths in 2010, as you'll see in the following chart. This accounts for over 38,000 deaths in 2010. With alarming statistics such as these, I encourage all of you to be vigilant about the signs of depression and educate others just like I've educated you.